This week on What the Heck, we check in with Tyler, recap our hunting season, and then work through a bracket to find the greatest hunt of all. Crack a cold one, kick your feet up, and enjoy the show. Good evening and welcome to episode 5 of season 2 of What the Heck. I'm Colin Frederick with Jake Reese and Tyler Heck. Gentlemen, what's up?
Feels good to be back in the studio.
Yeah, living the dream. I missed you guys. It's been 2 weeks for me.
Some might say it's been a while.
Stained usually would say that.
Yep.
A little stained. The country guy. The country bears. So we took a week off because we were out busy chasing deers around.
And giving thanks
And giving thanks
to our families.
To the lack of deers out
and
running
our
around.
hecklers.
Oh, wait, you were giving thanks to that?
Yeah.
I was cursing.
I was cursing as well.
Quietly under my breath. I don't want everyone to hear me.
Right, of course.
Didn't want to scare away the deer that might come by.
Yep.
But we'll get to so much. We have so much deer talk to get to.
It's a lot.
Before then, we don't have anyone to talk to. We don't have any voice messages.
That's disappointing.
We don't have any new treats except for the root beer barrels that Jake's still crunching on.
I'm done now.
Yeah.
I'm not.
At least I'll put the next one in.
Exactly. But continue to send us messages. Ben the Robber was going to call and talk shit to Tyler, and he didn't, which I'm disappointed in because I always welcome that.
No one's called in and talked shit to me.
If anyone wants to, you should.
Bring it on.
Bring it on.
I might even do that. Is that okay if I call in
Yeah.
and do that?
I'm going to do it to myself just because no one else is doing it.
I would. I'd do it. I'd like to hear your mom call in and talk shit about you.
She might.
Maybe she could air some of like your dirty laundry from your childhood.
Oh, I'm sure there's tons of that.
Like
Probably is.
Tyler peed the bed until he was 16.
Yeah, just 16.
Yeah, totally.
yeah, no.
How
Come over to
embarrassing.
my
Not until I went to
annoying,
college.
yeah.
Don't come to my apartment for a couple days.
He's got the mattress out on the balcony right now.
Yeah, I got to sleep outside.
We got a real quick fantasy football check-in.
Wait, this isn't over yet?
What's not over yet?
Fantasy football? I thought our league was over.
Nah, dude,
No.
we still got some
Just
time.
your season.
Nice.
Which is good because I
Mine's been
gotta.
over since week 2.
I still have to order that belt.
And I'm in the hunt now.
Are you?
Yeah.
Everyone
After
in
I
that
win
other
this
division's
week.
in the hunt at 4 wins. I
After
wish
I
I
win
was
th-
in the other division.
Dude, I'm going to be 6-6 after this week. Tied with the Superior Reese.
I'll
at
get
6-6.
I'll get to the standings in just
Okay,
a second.
sorry. I
here.
didn't mean to jump ahead.
Hey, that's okay. I'm still on the scoreboard page because I wanted to be reminded exactly what the score of the llama leftover game was. And that would be 193 to 104.
Ouch.
Yep. So, go llamas is what I'm here to say. My top 3 performers all had more points than his numero uno. In fact, my top performer had twice what his did.
Yikes.
And that's helpful. I
Was your
found.
top performer who?
Derrick Henry.
Oh, he wasn't the number one for the week,
wasn't
though.
He was
Tyreek
not. In my other league, I had Tyreek, and that was delightful as well.
Was that 59 points?
Something like that. Hey, there's
Un-
Bo Jackson. You were
pretty
just
average.
talking about him.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's average. Oh, this is the one.
Right there. Bam!
That guy sucks anyway.
What a sissy.
I could have hit better than that.
Things are getting so technologically advanced in the studio that we now have the Monday Night Football game playing.
We might get distracted.
Yeah, so sorry if
So-
words kind of trail off. There's some things going on. But the standings, what everyone needs to see. And these standings are, since the matchup's not over, it's still going to be a little off. So maybe we'll have
That's
to help
true.
remind me who's doing what.
I can tell you who's in last place.
Tyler is, are you losing again? I'm pretty sure you're
Yeah,
losing.
Yes.
And it's close, but he's got another guy. I was looking decent after the first round of games, and then, classic me, my team just falls apart.
It's official. You're done. You have no
Yeah.
more people, and you're down 26.
Yep, it's over.
Well, I can't get, oh, there they are. I couldn't get him to load. Will is winning. He's 9-2, so he'll be 10-2.
Damn, Will.
Renee is losing to Will, right?
Yep.
All right, so she'll be 8-4. The moldy leftovers will be 7-5 because they lost to Cruz and Chubbies. I called myself the Llamas. That's
yeah,
the
I was
other league.
confused.
Sorry, I'm always the Kali Llamas. It's like the Dalai Lama but cuter. Cruz and Chubbies will be 7-5, and then should have the head-to-head.
Yeah, that's
That'll
a
be
big win.
That's pretty dynamite for you.
Need that.
Big pull.
So that'll put me up into third. And heck, I'll be 2-10.
Hey, still got 2.
Solid.
Who did
Hey.
I beat again?
Superior Reese was one of them.
Yep, and I don't care about
He
the other
sucks.
one. So I honestly, did I beat the leftovers?
I still don't. You
I
might
think
have.
I did.
I still don't understand how this has Superior Reese listed second, like overall in the total standings.
Because the winners of each division are number 1, number 2.
Well, that's Bush League.
Hey, you're the commish.
You
Well,
should've
this is
changed it.
stupid.
We'll have to change that for next year.
Yeah,
Well-
we're gonna blow it up and start over.
And I think the last seed should be the last team, the last place team. They should get the sneak in.
What an excellent idea.
Because really, if I was in that other division, that average
You would be
division,
last there too.
Yeah.
I beat 2 of those teams.
You'd
No,
still
you
be
beat
down.
one of your.
Aren't they both in that other division?
No, I don't think so.
You'd still be 2 games out of last place.
4,
2 games out of first place.
because after
No.
I win and the Superior Reese wins, we'll be 6-6.
Is Matt winning?
Yeah, he's up 30 on the big bologna sandwich.
Oh, so we'll have 2 6 and 6s. Pretty
Yep.
average.
Hey, it's one game behind you.
Hey, it's behind.
It's 500. That's average.
Yep.
Ben will be 5 and 7. The robber will be 5 and 7. I think he's winning some. He's beating
beating
somebody,
me.
isn't he? Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
And Julia's doing poorly at 4 and 8.
Yep.
She's quietly sneaking down into Tyler Heck territory. She should probably watch out.
Yeah.
That's too bad for her.
All right, so that's fantasy football. In nightmare football, the Bears are terrible, and I hope they fire their coach. Moving on. I can't
Agreed.
talk about it anymore. It makes me too
Well,
sad.
why not? It was a really good game.
Moving on.
Okay. that's
What's
fine.
next?
Keep her moving. I think that what is next is... Nah, I can't reach the thing, so sorry. You just imagine in your brain that there's some kind of echo. Tyler, what the heck?
The heck.
The heck?
That wasn't bad. Tis the season, right?
I don't know what season you're talking about.
Exactly.
It
Uh,
is.
That's because
I love it.
you haven't done what I'm about to talk about yet.
Yes.
Friggin' A.
And
Shame
it's
on
really
you.
disappointing. When is too early and too late to do Christmas decorating?
Well, I hope it's not too late, because
Well,
I'm trying.
I'll tell
It's
you right
never
now,
too
it's
late.
too late. Well,
It's never too late,
to
in my
do
opinion.
it, but it's too late. Like you're gonna get yelled at. When?
Yeah.
Okay, let me rephrase. When is too early because you're gonna get yelled at, and when is too late because you're gonna get yelled at?
So this is my 2 cents, and this is the way I've done it, is the Friday after Thanksgiving, all the lights go up outside and get turned on. And then that weekend, either Saturday or Sunday, we decorate the inside. So this year, actually, I had to work Friday, so Kim decorated most of the inside Friday.
I saw
And
that
then-
you were at work that day. Why did you go
It's
to work?
crazy.
Aren't you the boss?
Gotta
Can't
work.
Can't you just make that not happen?
Gotta feed the fam,
Yeah.
man.
Seems like
Put some bread on the table.
that's the beauty of salaried positions.
Yeah, well, I had to pay payroll, so if anybody wanted to get paid, this guy does it. Anyway,
Unreal.
so Kim decorated Friday inside. Saturday, we put the lights up outside. And then yesterday, we decorated the tree as a family, so everybody's got their own ornaments and things they do. And we turned on all the lights inside, and shazam, Christmas. So usually for us, it's pretty consistent, Friday, Saturday of the weekend right after Thanksgiving.
I think that would be. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like that's a majority of
I think so.
people, is
I remember
that's
as a
like the
kid
time
we
they
did that too.
start.
Yeah.
Is like Christmas is at least bringing it up, checking, make sure you don't have to replace anything.
Yeah, I tried to play. We did Thanksgiving at my office this year to get socially distanced with some family, and I tried to play Christmas music, and I got shot down and said that we had to get through Thanksgiving before I could play Christmas music.
See, they would have yelled at me because I've been playing Christmas music since
Carter told me.
I think the second Monday of November, which is
I'm
very
okay with that.
early for me. I'm very much like usually on Thanksgiving, or even like coming home from college. If we were coming home for Thanksgiving, we'd listen to it. But it was usually like that's when I started. But this year, with everything that's going on, I was like, you know what? We just need some Christmas music.
I think it was November 1st. Somewhere I read it on Facebook that a station out of Milwaukee, 93.3, was starting to play Christmas music November 1st. And I boom, programmed that in my phone, programmed that in the truck, played it in the office until they told me to turn it off because it was too early to play Christmas
Who
music.
told you this?
I'm outnumbered in the office.
Are these the same people for whom you just told me you were writing checks? 'Cause
Yeah.
tell them to suck it.
I just shut my door and played it quieter. That worked. But today I turned the Christmas music up and I turned it up loud.
Cranked
And
it.
my assistant said, "Ugh, I can hear that out here." And I went, click, 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 louder and said, "What? You can't hear it?" It was great.
Yep, get over it. It's Christmas time.
Yeah. I hope she's on Indeed.com tonight looking for a new gig.
I also normally I would set up like that Thanksgiving Friday, Saturday because there's nothing else really going on. This year, however, I did the outside lights like 2 weeks before.
That day it was like 70.
Yeah, it was so
Man,
nice.
I
I
should've.
had shorts and a sleeveless shirt on out there, just running lights, and I was like, man, I wish I had more to do out here because it's that nice.
Could
And
have
that's
come.
all I did.
Could have swung by and
I was
you know.
pretty tired. So that I just did the outside for a while, and then I finally finished. I slowly started doing like the inside stuff when I got back from hunting Monday night and Tuesday because I wasn't doing a whole lot. And I finally finished it all up like yesterday, where I got all the little stuff like the Santas and the
Yep.
stockings up and everything. So, but usually it's like Thanksgiving Thursday evening, Friday morning, throughout the day.
I admittedly am a little behind.
yeah.
However,
We noticed.
this was my first year in a new home, so I still have to acquire everything, you know.
You need some help?
No, we're fine, but
Oh.
that's just why it was a little behind. It's because it would have been a little easier if we could just pull out a coat and slap up some lights on the house.
So
However, we
let me
need
ask
to
you this.
acquire all of the lights first.
So, do you have it in the mind laid out what's
Oh,
going to
yeah.
be out in the
Oh,
house
yeah.
and where it's going to go and what
Yeah.
it looks like?
Yeah.
Okay, because that's a key.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you go to the store and just buy lights and then you come home and you're like, then you bought the wrong lights or you didn't buy enough of them and it's a
We just
disaster.
got some things that we have to figure out because it's the first year. We bought a big giant wreath, like a real one, for above the garage.
Nice.
But I need to have something to hang it on, which is not currently in place. So once that's in place, then I'll be fine for next year. I can just slap that puppy up there.
So let me ask you this:
Tell me.
what kind of lights you putting on the house? String lights, icicle lights, rope lights,
or white?
color, white.
They're white. I think they're cool white. I actually got a bunch for free, so that's
Cool
what I'm
whites that
using
are
this
like
year.
the
Are they-
blue-
The bright ones, yeah.
Not icicle lights.
Which is not my favorite. No, they're just, but they're not the mini bulbs either. They're like the
Okay.
bigger bulbs. They were free, so we'll try them out this year and see
Yeah, might as
what
well.
it does.
I'm a big icicle light guy myself, because then they can hang down and they kind of blow in the wind a little bit, and it looks really pretty cool.
Oui. I have a few strings of those that I had in a dorm room, kind of deal. Those maybe can go up in the basement in the bar. Yeah, I've not really done a lot of Christmas decorating down there. I do have an extra fake tree I could throw up down there. So I could do that, and we bought a real small Santa hat to put on the raccoon.
Nice.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, I always have one. I gotta find it. I just pulled it out the other day. I bought one specifically a few years ago for my bear, so I gotta take that to work and get him all decked out.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the purpose of having taxidermy, is to put Santa hats on it.
Yeah.
But you could do that for a lot of holidays.
That's true.
My brother shot a big, like a massive buck a couple years ago, and my sister-in-law named him Rudy, and so Rudy will wear a bullet turner tie the first day of school, and Rudy will wear like St. Patrick's hat, and Halloween and Christmas, and she decorates him a couple couple dozen times a year for different things.
I'm into it.
I feel like that's where you should hang like your stockings from the
From
rack.
the, yeah,
Yeah, that could be.
love a nice rack, you know.
Yep.
Speaking of,
Yeah.
maybe we do some post hunting season talk.
Oh, I thought you wanted to talk about your trip to the palace the other night.
Oh no,
I got it.
no, we're gonna keep that on the DL for now.
So, we went hunting.
So
Really?
let me ask you this.
Yeah.
I listened to the episode that I was absent from
Oh, you were
when I went up
absent.
hunting a little bit
Yeah,
early for
mhm.
setup.
Well, you're always a little
You know, and
premature.
you guys did your top 10.
Yeah.
Tyler didn't agree with me on this. I bounced it off him, and he shot me down fast.
Oh, so
I don't
I'm
even
fair.
remember.
You're the
And
deciding factor.
you
I don't
know-
even
so
remember
I'm-
what it was.
but
It
you
was
know-
that bad.
I'm
you know
pretty
how-
sure you're gonna go against me
You
too.
know how
so
much
that's
I love to
fine.
shoot you down.
Yes, so I might as well not even talk about it. But definite, a 100% in my top 10 are hand warmers.
Oh, sure.
Tyler said he doesn't use them ever.
I don't even put gloves on.
I actually have a funny hand warmer story.
I don't wear gloves. I have a quarterback pouch,
Sure.
and I put a hand warmer in my quarterback pouch and just sit with my hands in there. But without the hand warmers, like I could get by. Like it's not like I'd cry and freeze, but I
might
just
cry.
I feel a little better,
I
comfortable.
kind of am with you a little bit.
That's dumb.
I don't like to wear gloves because it's real clunky when you're trying to operate safeties and
Yep.
things. I've not found a glove yet that's like sufficiently warm for sitting all day in real cold days, but also that's not like so thick. You need a little dexterity. This year, however, it was like 50 all weekend.
Yeah,
But there was one day, like I was just sitting in there in, I wore like my lighter pair of LJs and a pair of pants and then like a long sleeve shirt and a hoodie was pretty much what I wore all weekend. I had a coat with me that I put on like twice, I think. But at one point I did bust out some hand warmers. And because I always keep some in my backpack.
yep.
I have a few things working against me when it comes to my backpack. One, I'm a rookie and I don't really know. My dad never said, "Now, son,
You need this in your backpack.
this is what you need when you're hunting."
Got it.
And so I just had to like kind of try and figure that out and base it on what other people say. So
Do you want me to tell you what's in my backpack?
No,
Okay.
maybe, but just not right now. So I had just like have a ton of shit.
Mm-hmm.
I've got all the calls, and I've got a bore cleaner, and I've got a multi-tool, and I got like just like a lot of stuff. And some of it you probably don't ever touch, but it'd be nice to have if you needed it. And I suppose if you're not like really out hiking around all day, it like doesn't matter if your backpack's kind of heavy, because you just have to carry it to where you're
Sure.
going.
Yep.
But I'm also like just a chronic overpacker. Like if I'm packing a bag to do anything, I'm gonna take way more than I need. So those two things together, not knowing what I really need and being an overpacker, I just have a giant backpack. But in that backpack are hand warmers. And my funny hand warmer story, I had them in my pocket for like in the morning, and then like my front hoodie pocket, same as I don't have a quarterback pouch yet.
You
but
should
I
get one of those.
I know
They're
I
pretty
need one.
dynamite.
But I was just using my hoodie pocket as that. So I had them in there in the morning, and that was fine. And then I kind of forgot about them. And then like the whole day went on, and you know they just kind of get like lukewarm. We like left the blind and went and tried to kick some deer up in the timber, and then found a different spot to sit at like for the end of the day. So we're out of the blind and we're just like sitting on the ground in the woods. And I was kind of like reclined back, laying on a log, because we're like, well, in that spot, if we were going to see anything, it was going to be right at the end of the day. So we were kind of settling in to sit there for a couple hours. So I was like laid back on this kind of rotten log that made a nice little like recliner. That was okay. But in that time, I had forgotten that I had these hand warmers in my pocket. And I was like laying on the ground in the forest. But when I went to get up, I like kind of rolled onto my side to stand up, and one of them like fell out of my pocket, and I caught it. And I had forgotten that I had hand warmers in my pocket. So I just felt something like small and kind of like half-ass warm in my hand, and was like, oh, and I like threw it at Mark.
Oh, a mouse.
And I was like, oh damn! As soon as I did it, I knew exactly. I was like, oh, hand warmer. That's right.
Rookie mistake.
And he like looked at me. He's like, what are you? I was like, can you pick that up for me, please? Yeah. I was like, it was only very slightly warm. I've been laying on the ground for 2 hours. I was like, I just forgot I had it. I thought, I don't know, maybe it was a mouse. So then he's like, what, are you scared of mice? And I'm like, no, not at all. It just like startled me because I like forgot that it, yeah. So
Nice.
that's my hand warmer thing.
I might have a funnier story than that. Not with hand warmers. And it's about Ben the Robers.
I've heard of
And
that guy.
He wanted me. So he doesn't want me to tell the story, but it's a pretty.
Oh,
good one.
perfect.
Those are the best.
Those are the best stories.
So
Yep,
first,
sure.
I gotta go back to 2 weeks ago when we were on this. I talked about my other cousin Corey, who has been going for 17 years, never
Yep.
got the kill. Brought his first 2 deer down this year.
Nice.
And one of them was big.
One of them was a very good size 8-pointer. The first one was not a very good sized nub, but the hole he put in that thing was probably the size of the top of my beer can.
Jeez.
And it was on the run, like it just shattered. There's blood everywhere. And then the 8-pointer he dropped, and it's just dropped, didn't even move. And he shot both of them in some real thick stuff, so he couldn't like see really where they went down. And there were other deer with them. So, like, all of us were like, oh, we'll go help track because they went off in different directions. There's other deer around, so you stay. So me and Ben and my dad and my uncle all went over there to help track these deer. Find the 2 deer. Corey and my dad are going to go gut the buck, and then I'm going to gut the little one, and Ben, not hunt. This is only his second time ever hunting, has never seen a deer get gutted before, so he goes over with the big buck because, you know, why would you go with the bigger deer?
Oh, yeah, of course.
And they go to grab it and like lift it up to move it so they could gut it and like put it on the hill or whatever. And it like as they move it, like all the air in its lungs release and it grunts. And he like kind of jumps back, and my dad's like, "Oh my god, it's alive!" And he started to like freak out and turn around and run because he didn't know, even though this thing had been laying there at this time for about an hour. So that was the story of the weekend, and will be a story for the rest of his life, whether he hunts or not. That he ran away from a dead deer
That's pretty awesome.
because he heard his last breath. That was pretty good. I
The
wish I would have
old
been
robber.
there, but
Not so tough after all.
Yep.
Oh,
yeah, that's a
meatball.
good one. Sorry, Ben, had to tell it. What?
If we're telling some, good old hunting stories, the first, I guess, is a fork that I shot. I was probably 14, and I was hunting with the Superior Reese, and he shoots a doe, and he's like, it's on this like deer trail, so he's gonna show me. I was like my second year hunting. He's like, this, watch close. I'm gonna show you how to gut. I'm like, okay, so I'm standing there, and I still have my gun on my shoulder. And he's like gutting and like, you gotta do this. Make sure you do this. I'm like, yeah. And all of a sudden I'm like, shh. And he's like, what? I'm like, there's deer coming. He's like, no, there's not. We're talking, like, I'm showing you how to gut. Like, there's not deer coming. I'm like, yeah, there is. Quiet. So he stops for a minute, and I hear it coming. And all of a sudden I look up on this trail we're on. This like fork is coming right at us, maybe 20 yards away. So I put my 30-06 up, literally this far. He's kneeling down. I put it up right next to his head. He still didn't believe me there was a deer there. I shot it, and he, like, ears are ringing, and I dropped it right on the trail about 20 yards away. He was not happy about that one, but I got a deer, so it worked out.
I'd have probably shot you.
I think he punched me at first, but then when he realized I wasn't lying and I shot a deer, then he was pretty excited
Then
for me.
it's okay with
Yeah,
it.
yeah. As long as I wasn't just messing with him.
That's reasonable, I suppose.
Yeah.
So, this year specifically, how'd it go? Any luck? You see anything?
Personally, it was awful. We went to a new area, and I saw one. So I sat with Carter, and in the super super thick stuff behind us, I just heard it, and then I saw like body, and then so I tapped Carter, and he got the gun out because on the other side, we had a shooting lane about 25 yards, and it was going that way through this thick stuff. Carter never saw it, so I don't know where it turned or bedded down or what it did, but it was a decent doe, but that was it. We never saw another deer anywhere.
I saw 27.
Oh my God, I hate
Oh,
you.
sorry. I saw 27 turkeys.
Okay.
And that was on Monday night before we came home. I was in, honestly, it sounded like they were all over the place. But I wasn't in my normal tree because everything just grew up so thick. So I'm like, all right, I can't, there's no way I'm going to be able to shoot through any of this. And I don't go high enough to be able to shoot over it. So I went back up the trail maybe 25, 30 yards and found a spot on the other side that was pretty open for maybe 75 yards at its longest. But it was a decent opening spot, and last year there were a couple deer playing back in there that I saw that I just couldn't get a shot at. So I'm like, you know what, this isn't a bad spot. And right away, like, I can hear them running through all this thick stuff, but I can never see them. And this guy ahead of me, I don't know, he was a couple hundred yards away, but it was close enough where heard stuff, disappeared, a couple shots, like 5 minutes later. I'm like, all right, well, that's where they went. Then after that, my uncle was sitting maybe 200 yards from me. He texted me, hey, there's a couple doe running your way. Never saw him. The deer that my cousin shot, I think maybe if I was in my old tree, I might have seen. I probably wouldn't have gotten a shot at them, but at least I would have seen deer. So yeah, I went all day Saturday, saw nothing. Sunday morning, went out for a couple hours, didn't see anything, and packed up. Then we hunted my sister's land Sunday night, Monday morning, saw nothing. And then my brother-in-law took us to another farm Monday night. And I was in a really nice, sitting in some pine trees, a little grassy area off to my right. I'm like, yeah, this is it. And all of a sudden, 4 o'clock, maybe a little earlier, I hear something off to my right. I'm like, yep, here it comes. So get out of my chair, gun's ready, getting closer, and then I see movement, safety pops off, and I see this little black spot. I'm like, what the hell is that? And it keeps coming, and then there's more. I'm like, it's a bunch of turkeys. So originally I counted like 12 turkeys. They stayed in this little grassy area eating for maybe 15 minutes. And then there was a cornfield or a hayfield right behind me, maybe 20 yards. And they started walking towards that. I'm like, well, I'm at least going to watch them. There's something. And they walk out, and I ended up counting 17. But then I could still hear something in this tall grass. I'm like, what is that? And then another like 10 come just sprinting out of that grass, and they'll fly across the street. It sucked. I mean, at least I saw something. I didn't go 3 days with no action, and at least pulled the safety off and had the gun up ready to go just in case.
Yeah, I feel bad for Carter because his first year last year we saw 2 doe about 150 yards out in the marsh. So there was no way I was having him shoot at those. And then the 6-point that I shot came out on my side, and there would have been just no way he'd have been able in our tree stand to get a shot at him. So I shot that. So 2 years now, limited deer viewing for a new hunter. That's kind of frustrating.
I would agree.
Yeah, you're a new hunter.
It's pretty much what I'm experiencing. My first 2 years, I didn't see any deer until like the end of my last day on the second year, where I saw 2 deer, like 2 little does, like down a hill at my 7 or 8 o'clock through a bunch of trees, like no chance at any kind of shot. So that was all I had seen previously. I hunted Illinois this time, which is you can't hunt with a rifle there.
I did not know that.
Yep. Which is kind of dumb, because here I am with my little rifle that I'd just love to point at something, and I can't.
Nope.
So I went with Katie's dad, and I had his a 12 gauge like slug gun with iron sights, and he had his muzzle loader that had a scope on it. The first morning, their season opened Friday, so I was hunting Friday morning with them. And we were in a ground blind together, and each day we sat all day, like dark to dark. The first morning, we heard like a real low-pitched grunt a couple of times, like in the woods to our right. So like that was exciting. We're like, oh, that sounded like kind of a manly deer. That would be cool. But then that was the last we heard of that guy. We were sitting like on the edge of the woods. So the woods were kind of behind us and then extended in each direction. We were overlooking like a couple acres of cornfield that was kind of long and narrow. And there was a tree line on the other side of that at, depending on where you're at, 60 to 100 yards with a little like open path that we walked through to get to where we were. And then to the right, it like went uphill, and then beyond those trees was another cornfield, like up on the hill a couple 100 yards. Later that day, like 11 o'clock, we saw a decent buck popped up, like up in that cornfield up to our right. So it's like obviously no shot, but we saw him. You can see him like through the trees, so even that was kind of obscured, but it looked like a pretty good buck. And then he turned and headed down towards us into those woods, also to never be seen or heard from again.
Those damn deer.
And then, so that was like 11, and then nothing happened until it was probably 4:15. I think shooting light was like 5:03 or something. So it's probably 4:15, and a couple of does. At first we saw two came like from that field up top down towards that tree line that we were sitting across from, and worked their way like real slowly down towards us. And it was probably 4:30 or 4:45, like getting pretty dark. The opening that we walked through was about 100 yards or a little bit more. And it was dark enough that like with iron sights it was going to be a long dark poke. So I took his muzzle loader. I'd shot his slug gun, I think I shot it 5 times or whatever at home before I went down there, just so I had shot it before. Which, by the way, is not a lot of fun.
Little kick.
It was a little aggressive. So I picked up his gun that I had never fired before. He's like, just pull the hammer. And I was like, okay. And the first doe was like staring right at us. And then she'd like pretend she was going to put her head down for a second. And bam, like snap right back to us. And just like would not leave it alone. So I like couldn't get a gun up because I'm just like sitting there staring at her. And then she finally like walks past the little opening. And I was like, whew, okay. So I got my gun up. And Mark's watching that one and like the one behind it. And he's like talking to me like, okay, now she's back there. But I mean, like, whatever. He's like watching for me.
Like the deer whisperer.
At first, well, he saw them. I didn't even know. I thought they were the other opening. And he's like, no, they're over here. And I was like, oh, and I had to like switch windows. But he's like talking to me, watching those two, and a third one that I had not originally seen at all, like strolls out, and I'm like, oh, all right. And she stopped for a second and seemed to not be paying any attention to us, and like he's still talking, and I felt kind of bad because he like was trying to help me, but I like had a shot and like needed to take it now, so I did. And with a muzzleloader, then there's a giant cloud of smoke. So I'm like, oh, damn it. Like, I have no idea what happened. I'm like, felt good. I followed through. I stayed down in the scope. Like, I was like, I didn't see anything other than he's like, all right, I saw two over there, like, whatever. Like, they ran off. And I was like, I can't believe that I would have missed it. Like, that felt like a good shot. And he's like, well, I don't know that you did miss it. He's like, I'm missing one of them. And I was like, well, okay. So we, like grabbed our guns and we're gonna head out there and see if we could find any blood. And at this point, like, it was, I could still see, but I grabbed a headlamp because I was like, by the time I get across this field
Right.
and see
Yep.
anything, like, it'll be dark.
Uh-huh.
And so we get over there, and there's a like a little like end of a twiggy like tree branch that's like cleanly shot off. And I'm like, damn it, I was high. I was like, how did that happen? I was like, there's no way that I was this high. But it turned out the deer was just standing further back than I thought.
Nice.
So like that was in line, but I was like, I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm kind of a dead eye. I just shoot twigs off at 100 yards.
About how far was the shot?
It was like probably 100 and some change.
Nice. That's a pretty
Dang.
good shot.
Found a little blood, and there were just like some drips. Followed it like down like through the tree line. The tree line was probably like 10 yards wide with some junk. So we're following, and then got to kind of like a crossroads where it either like split left out into the cornfield, like further down from where we were, or right back into like some other like taller grass, whatever. He went out into the cornfield. We couldn't find any. Like the blood trail just like all of a sudden dried up. So I was like, damn it. So I went back to like where that fork was and went the other way, and there wasn't any that way. And I went back and checked the cornfield again, and there wasn't any there. So at this point, as a guy who's never shot a deer before, I was like immediately discouraged. I was like, great. The first deer I shot at, I wounded, and now it's just like out running around. But I went back again and looked like straight, and that was the path where there actually wasn't really a path that this one went. And he thought he had seen it in the cornfield, like standing there, which he did, but it was another 20 yards or whatever past where we thought it came out. So we went back into the cornfield, like back across behind us, and found it piled up in the woods. So like, whew.
I've learned over the years that when you're tracking a deer after you shoot it, like 99 out of 100 times, it will take the path that you least expect.
It's
For real,
certainly
they
seemed
they
that
do
way.
it because if they're wounded, they're going to try and go to an area where they can't be found or they can't be
Right.
followed. And so when we're looking around, when we've trailed deer over the years, it's like, okay, well, I think it could have gone that way. And then you're like, but that looks miserable. I better walk through that
Yep.
because that's probably where it went. And that's usually what happens.
Yep. So
Good learning lesson for
yeah,
you.
So we found her, dragged her out,
Gutted her out.
gutted her out, double lunged her.
Nice.
I don't know how she ran as far as she did.
Adrenaline.
Seriously, that was like, and by the time it had been just kind of drips through the tree line, but by the time we were into the field, like
It was a blowout.
she was bleeding.
Yeah.
But,
So, did Mark teach you how to gut it, or did you know how to gut it?
I had a general like, I probably could have figured it out on my own. I would have surely like missed some of like the finer details.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But could have done it through watching videos and reading books, and mostly just Steve Rinella because he's great.
Sure.
I actually have one of the million things in my backpack is the Meat Eater How to Gut a Deer bandana. It's like bright orange, so you can use it for like a bunch of stuff, and it's the nice micro,
Oh, yeah.
like whatever,
Oh,
so you
yeah.
can use it to like clean off your scope or whatever. But also it has like nice detailed cartoon pictures on how to gut a deer. So I have that with me too if I really
Like
needed
a little
it.
cheat sheet.
Yeah. But we gutted it out and went out to his buddies and hung it and skinned it, and that was that. And then proceeded to have pretty much nothing happen at all for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, that's usually the way it works.
It was weird. Like there wasn't even a lot of shooting around us anywhere. Like there just was like nothing going on. It was very strange.
I think the warm weather too.
Yeah.
You know, I know up by us
That's
there
what we
wasn't a
were
lot of
thinking.
shooting, and we saw 4 deer between 8 of us. So it was like, there wasn't deer moving. It was so warm that they didn't need to move. They were just bedded down and
Right.
chilling, and that kind of sucks.
Yeah, I would agree. We kind of thought the same thing about maybe the warm weather slowing them down. I am headed back down this weekend because Illinois splits their season up. So I've got another 4 days. And I still have my either sex tag, so
Nice.
we'll see what happens.
So what days did they close it this week?
Sunday. It was Friday, Saturday, Sunday,
Oh, and then
and then there was a
until-
week off,
Got it.
and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then I
Nice,
think
that's
they
not
have
bad.
a separate, like maybe next weekend then is
Muzzleloader?
muzzleloader, which I used anyway, so. Which I actually kind of was into. It like didn't beat the hell out of me. It was kind of nice.
Mhm.
It was not that nice not being able to see what happened, but it's all right.
Leaves a nice smell too, though.
Oh yeah,
Something different.
it was. It was different. I enjoyed it. Oh, DK.
Sidetracked.
Yeah. So yeah. So I guess it's kind of a postseason. Got a deer, got it up here, got it to the butcher. Talked. Actually, I didn't even really have to talk her into. Katie let me hang it in the garage for a day because I came back up here on Sunday with the skinned like whole carcass, and nobody would take it. Like I called like all the butcher shops, and everybody was closed. And which it seems to me like it feels like you could still like have a drop off, you know?
You'd think so.
Yeah. I
But-
feel like a lot more wood. I feel like COVID kind of screwed
I think
that
so,
up a little
too.
bit more
That's probably
than
true.
normal.
When I
Plus,
shot,
the temperature had dropped a little bit, but
Yeah.
most butchers, if they know it's warm, they'll make an exception no
Yeah.
matter what. And they'll be like, yeah, bring it down because otherwise you get it ruined
that's what I thought.
pretty easily.
But it was like cool enough then. Like
Yeah.
the high was low 40s, and
Yeah.
so I went and bought a gambrel and a little ratchet hoist system, and
Nice.
We got to get you some old meat hooks. That's what we use in my grandpa's.
Mm.
Yep.
He's got the things.
The Y shape.
No, it's a legit like.
Oh, just
a
the
meat
one meat
tooth.
hook.
They're not connected. You just hang them both up.
We got the Y ones, so you hook
Yeah,
them in
that's
the,
what
in
I
the
had.
feet and.
Yeah, they have them. It's like the same distance, but they're just two separate
Okay.
hooks. Yeah, they're pretty sweet.
yeah, so it worked
Sucks
pretty
hanging
well.
deer up, but
It was like immediately outside the door from my house to my garage. So like when you walked out, like oh, there's a deer.
Oh, good
like, you
morning.
walked right into it. So she hung there for a day, and then we took her over to Lake Geneva, and they were taking 50 deer a day, probably I guess because of COVID.
yeah.
And you had to like call and reserve a spot and whatever, and it apparently all 50 of the people were there at the same time. It's like we
I was
waited
gonna say
in line.
probably early.
It was
because
like,
they
yeah,
all
we
wanted
all
to
went
get it
right
done.
away.
Yep.
The line was like out onto 50, like,
Oh, jeez.
and
Jeez.
2 lines in the driveway. Like it was stupid. We were there for like an hour. But yeah. So that's kind of my spiel. Hopefully we have some cool, exciting story to talk about next week.
Yeah. Don't forget about those hand warmers.
And the hand warmers,
It's gonna be colder this week.
barely. Down
What?
there it's just not
Oh.
by a lot. There's weird things going on here in this game. It's throwing me off.
I don't know how he got in that.
I think that the plan is this week we're driving deer with his group of friends.
Okay.
Which it seems
Yeah.
like that's pretty much like all that they do. So we might like sit the first day and then go, if we don't have any luck, go drive with them. Which, I don't know. I don't know anything about it. I'm curious to like see how that all works.
I've never been a big driving guy. Like, we've never been a big driving family. We have some relatives that'll drive for us.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this year we thought there was a definite faux pas, like hunting lore. Like, Tyler's been hunting a lot. Like, we heard people at like 8 o'clock, 8:15 opening morning
Yeah.
out driving, which I don't know what you guys think, but to me, like,
No.
opening morning, you do not drive
you
deer.
just sit.
No.
Maybe 1 o'clock opening day afternoon, maybe.
Right.
But even then, like, we really don't have never driven much opening day. Period.
Right. I would
Like, you
tend to
drive
agree.
Sunday.
Right.
Yeah,
Mid
it's always
morning-ish.
Sunday.
Right. If you're like about to be leaving the woods and
Yeah.
you need to.
So we were a little cranky that there was a group of like 10 guys. Not where I was sitting, but where my brother and his boys were sitting. There's a group of like 10 dudes out. Well, and one woman who was super loud, like the whole woods heard her talking and screaming and yelling. And they were driving at like 8:15 in the morning. We're like, what the heck are you doing? It's opening morning. So that was a
seems
little
funny to me.
disappointing. Yeah.
I noticed in one of like the Whitetail, Wisconsin Facebook groups I'm in, there was a conversation about driving deer, and like for some people, like that's what they do.
Yep.
Like that's deer camp. Is they started when they were 6,
Yeah.
and their dad taught them how to drive deer, and like that's how they hunt.
Yeah.
Which I guess teach their own, but
Right.
I would agree that
And I feel like most groups that drive wait until at least later opening day. I feel like anywhere we've gone that people drive, it's always Sunday morning. Like, you know, you don't even have to have a clock out. You know, when you hear it, oh, this is what time it is, and then when they get here, it's that, like, because it's the same guys doing the
Yep.
same drive every year. Yeah, I would not like. I had 2 guys right before I went to help my cousin track these 2 deer. 2 guys just walked like the edge of the woods I was looking into, like 30 yards from me. Just walking. Didn't look like they had a gun. Didn't look like they had any packs. Just walking in orange. And I'm assuming it was the guy that shot out ahead of me because I could hear them walking through tracking something. But I'm like, for sure one of the guys had nothing with him. Like he was just walking normally, nothing on his back, wasn't holding a gun, didn't have it on his shoulder, just walking. The other guy might have had one because he was a little farther into the woods, but just walking. I'm like, you obviously see me,
Right.
and you could see me from where you like way back there where you started. You're still just gonna walk right in front of me. So then I was like, well, I might as well go help my cousin because there's not gonna be anything here.
So we were in a new spot this year on new county land,
that
and like
reminds me.
we drove a long ways back in this road, and like where we put a stand, well, like the end of wasn't really the end of the road, but it went going, but it was blocked. But there was a big opening, and there was like a bed down area, and we saw big runs. We're like, this is great because there's an opening, and they were using where the road went down from us, like it was you couldn't drive it, but we could tell they were walking it as a path. So we're like, all right, this is great. They're coming here, they're bedding here, they're coming here. So Carter and I are out opening morning, like 7:30. All of a sudden, we hear like a truck coming, and I'm like, we're like 6 miles back in the woods on this trail, like literally where it ends. And all of a sudden I look over and here's this truck, and he pulls right into this opening 15 yards out in front of our tree stand, and he puts it in park, 2 guys in it, and he looks up at me, starts shaking his head and throwing his hands up, flailing, and slams it in reverse and backs out and like drives off like a madman. I'm like, well, you don't come in opening morning to like find a stand. Like,
right.
it's not like my tree stand was hidden. Couldn't have been an hour later. Hear another truck come in. Probably my age, maybe a few years older, guy and a girl, throws it in park, and they're talking. They're there for like 5 minutes, talking back and forth in the truck at like 8:30, 9 o'clock. And then all of a sudden he looks out, looks up at me. I see a middle finger. I see hands go up in the air. I mean, a bunch of like making all these gestures in his truck, slams it reverse, backs out. I'm like, who comes out at 8:30 on opening morning to find a place to sit? Like, both of these guys, I'm like, what the heck is wrong with people? And then somehow I'm the bad guy.
That's dumb. And that's my issue with public land. It's just
Yep.
people are such assholes.
Right. They act like it's not public. Like,
Right.
I want to be here, so I should be able to be here.
Well, and we
Like,
looked. There was no trails. There was no stands. There was no shooting lanes. Like everything we did. There was no sign that there was another guy. You know, sometimes you can tell like, oh, somebody's been here, like whatever. There was nothing around there. So these 2 guys or these 2 groups had come out to, I don't know, find a spot. Like, who finds a spot opening morning?
That's very strange.
Yeah. So my brothers and I are looking for some land of our own.
Pretty
We're at
much
that
just-
age where just messing with the county land, and there's nephews hunting now, and our hunting group's growing tremendously, and
Yeah.
we just need our own land and our own space, put our stands up, and not deal with quacks and jokers.
Yeah, I hate when Quack tries to come with when I'm doing fun stuff.
Right? Yeah.
What a jerk.
Tell him to stay in his own yard.
Yeah, beat it, nerd.
Tell them to get better at fantasy football.
Yeah, pretty much as soon as I can possibly afford to swing it, the like property is very first on my list.
Yep. Yeah, I literally like went back to the cabin Sunday night and at my cousin's cabin and like scrolling through my phone. I texted my brother Luke 2 different lands. Like, all right, let's look at these. All right, what do you think of this?
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah. So
But
better times are ahead.
maybe they are.
They are.
Hopefully.
Maybe they are.
I'm the eternal optimist. They are.
You're something.
I'm praying to the dear gods.
Dear God. Dear God. So, I put together a bracket of things. Critters for which one could hunt. And this time, instead of just putting 16 teams all stacked on top of each other, I did it like 2 sides of 8.
Ooh.
On one side, we have, let's just get this up in there. Yep, yep. Okay. Oh, that is bad.
It's too big. I can't see it.
Stay tuned. There you go. So on the left, you'll see Wisconsin things. Things that you can hunt in Wisconsin. On the right, you'll find things you can hunt throughout the rest of the United States in
Anywhere else.
various parts. I didn't go with like the real wild, exotic African things. Like
Yeah.
this is all, you could shoot all of these things
In the U.S.
In the
or
US.
Canada.
or Canada.
Okay.
So these are things like we'll be trying to rank them in the order in which like I want to do that. Like I would like, and even if it's stuff that you already do, like
Sure.
perhaps like maybe you love hunting squirrels more than anything. Like that's your top favorite hunt. So I'm looking for your favorite hunt,
Got it.
whether it's something you've done or not.
Or something. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So like favorite dream hunt, the number one thing, like your bucket list. This is what I want to be
Got it.
hunting for.
Okay.
So the seatings are kind of messed up because it like goes back and forth
Back and
across the
forth.
sides.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I did it so that
Makes sense.
within
Yeah.
the
We
side.
got it.
So number one on those, we'll start on the Wisconsin side. We have number 1 versus number 8. Black bear versus the gray squirrel. I did a lot of squirrel watching.
Well, I'm gonna say black bear just because I've never done it. But let me tell you this: the first thing, like, I mean, my parents live down the road and a lot of oak trees around there, and so that's what we learned to do was like, and my wife was shocked like the first time we're at like Thanksgiving at my parents' house, and all of a sudden we're like, oh, squirrels, and like my brother's and I run to my dad's gun cabinet, we're pulling out 22, 410, 12 gauge, and like running out the back door shooting squirrels. Like, we grew up like anytime you saw a squirrel, my parents are big like bird watchers, and they ruin bird feeders and bird houses. So anytime you saw squirrels, it was fair game. Like, go get a gun, go shoot them and kill them because they were just pests.
You ever eat them?
Never eat them. You tie them off in a garbage bag, double bag it, and put it in the garbage because they're nasty.
Nah, I'd eat them.
No, they have so many diseases and bugs and
Everything has
rabies
diseases.
and
Yeah. No, I think it's cool.
so. But I don't think of it as a hunt. Like, I would never like pack up.
Oh,
Let's
so
get
it's
to
a
the woods
murder.
and hunt
Oh,
the
yeah.
gray squirrels.
There's
No.
a murder.
There's been a murder.
Yeah, kind of.
I pack up and hunt squirrels.
So I'm going black bear.
I've not had
never-
any luck so far, but that's a thing I do. And
Head
if
down
I shoot,
to Glenn and Marshall's and
if I
let them
shoot
know
a
if you
squirrel, I
can hawk around out back.
would be, I'd eat it 100%. I got a great recipe from the Meat Eater folks for squirrel hot wings.
I'm down.
Tyler's down.
But it doesn't be black bear.
No chance.
Nope.
You guys, yeah.
We gotta get there. Yeah, black bear it is.
Black bear.
Look at this real, even high-tech bracket.
man.
Yeah, it's-
We're really moving up in the
We
world
are.
around here.
I'm
I
impressed.
wish people could see this.
So now some other numbers. I guess it'd probably be like, I don't know, 4 and 5 or something.
Yeah, it would be.
Whatever.
Just cut them in half.
Forgot the eastern wild turkey and the mallard.
I'm not a big duck guy personally. Like, but turkey hunting, I have done a handful of times, and like, I went with some guys that can call them tremendously, where they will like call them right to your blind. Like, pretty freaking amazing to see it happen, and just to see them like roost up in the pine trees and come down and all this stuff. So I'm definitely going turkey for sure.
I am going to make Tyler pick because I'm going to go with ducks. I'm in the process of building a duck boat out of our old John boat. Um, I it got well. I thought that I had a duck dog. Stupid idiot. He'd probably still be a duck dog, actually.
Yeah.
You know what?
Because-
If he's not a duck dog, you just throw him overboard and you leave him
I think
in the water to
I think
fend
he
for
would still
himself.
be a duck dog because, like, he's got the like he's obedient, but also like will retrieve. So like he'll sit next to me and I'll tell him to go get something and he will go and get it.
Okay, so that's perfect.
I also Katie's gonna tell me that I'm overreacting and he's still a pheasant dog, but
Not
I'm
true.
just so pissed about last weekend that I can't even hardly speak. So
Let's
I'm going
hear
with ducks.
Tyler.
I like the idea
Um,
of sitting in a duck blind and like making pancakes and shit and hanging out.
I have done both. More recently, I've done turkey. And I think I would stick with turkey because I feel like that's a little bit more difficult. I mean,
Hey.
you really have to be still and
The calls
it's-
have to be spot
yeah,
on.
like with duck, I feel like it's hit or miss, and you can call them in or you can get lucky with one flying. Like it's still fun to hunt duck, and I really enjoy. I think duck is delicious, but I think I'm going turkey just for there's a little more challenge there.
I would agree with that. My duck thing, I think, is really mostly based on like I can do it with the dog.
Sure.
I've learned that hunting with my dog is like my favorite thing. That's
Except for
why
when he sucks.
that's why it ruined me when he
Except for when he sucks.
So this would have been the number 2 seed at like on this side, and that is the old white-tailed deer versus a coyote.
Deer. Although I can honestly say I've never been coyote hunting, and I know a couple people, that coyote hunt, and but the way they describe it, it's not really like
Oh, that's more just killing.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's not a hunt.
No,
Like they
it's-
drive around in their trucks and jump out and shoot them when they see them running across a field. Like to me, that's not really.
I know it's
Not
just
hunting.
killing.
Yeah.
I have like electronic predator call that I still have not used, but I forgot to tell this story. I was about ready to kill a coyote on my deer hunt because the day that I had the pretend mouse in my pocket incident. So we waited a couple hours and got to a point where like on the corner of the woods, so we could see into the field up top, we could see into the field down below, like we're right out on the point. And we're like, okay, well, it's 4 o'clock, so if things are going to start coming, they're going to be coming now. And all of a sudden, this coyote, like 50 yards behind us in the woods, just starts like barking like a dog incessantly for the remainder of shooting light. Like he would bark for 10 or 15 minutes straight and then just stop and wait a few minutes and then just like start barking again. So I was like, anything in the woods is now not going to come out. And nothing's going to come this way from over the hill. So we're like, we might as well go home.
Yep.
And he just like literally just sat there and ruined our hunt. I was like, if he comes out, I'm shooting him right in the head. But he didn't.
Yeah, I'm also
yeah.
gonna go deer.
It's deer.
Mostly because, and we talked about this a little bit 2 weeks ago, I guess. How like when we hunt, we don't hunt just to kill. Like we're gonna use.
Yep.
Like I
Right.
feel like people honestly just they hunt coyote just to hunt coyote. They don't do.
Oh,
anything
for
with
sure.
it.
It's more like
They hunt them and
these
throw
things.
them. Well,
these
some
are-
guys will use it. Like you can get their pelts, you can get paid
Yeah,
for 'em, but most
but-
guys are just
It's purely
Like,
to
shoot
just
and
like
leave.
get rid of them because
Yep.
there's too
Right.
many.
And so like I would do it, but it wouldn't be like if I never did it, I wouldn't be upset by it.
Right. I'd agree. And then we have pheasant or goose. Canada goose, not snow goose.
Oh, because gotta know.
I'm going pheasant. I've learned recently that I absolutely love it. And apparently my stupid, broken dog doesn't. But maybe he does. He did like 2 weeks ago and he just didn't this time, so
Yeah, he'll be fine.
hard to tell.
Hopefully.
that's a tough one. I'll let Tyler go first. Maybe my vote
I-
won't matter.
So I don't remember ever hunting pheasant, as far as I know. I have done some Canada goose hunts. and that's fun too. But I think just because I haven't done it as much, I'd probably go with the pheasant.
You're gonna love it. Just wait till I start dragging you with all the time.
I neither have done pheasant hunting, and I used to do like quail hunts and stuff like that. Um, I would like to try it. I've done goose hunting a few times, and that's kind of a crapshoot too. Like we would go up by a marsh up in the Midland part of the state and like hunt in this farmer's field that was sloped off the edge of the marsh, and he had blinds that he rented out to guys, so we would just sit in there. But it's hit or miss because like you could sit in it all morning and not have the geese flying there, and you sit it, you hunt morning, you hunt evening. So middle of the day, you go back to the hotel and play cards and eat lunch, and then you go back out there and you sit. And if they're not flying the right direction, if they're not low enough, like you're just kind of a crapshoot. So I don't know. I think I'd go with pheasant.
Watching dogs work
Yeah.
is so cool. So much cooler than like they're sitting next to you, and yes, they'll go pick it up if you tell them to. But watching them like find them and flush them, and then get some retrieves. Also, I think that pheasant tastes better than goose. So
Never
that
had
also weighs
either,
in on
so-
my decision.
Something that you left off of this from the Wisconsin hunt that we used to do a lot of is the cottontail rabbit.
Oh, sure.
Christmas time every year when we were kids, we used to just grab our 12 gauge, grab 410, whatever, and like a bunch of my brothers and cousins, and we'd just go out and grandparents' back hills, and we would take a dog with us so they get in the brush and shoo them out. But man, rabbits can be
Those are some
quite
elusive
exciting
animals.
Yeah.
when they come out of a brush pile. Like you better be up and ready because you're not getting to pull up on it because it's gone.
Okay, so we're on to the next round. No, let's go across.
Yeah.
So that, this is the rest of the United States. The top of my list would be the brown bear. I'll accept a grizzly or standard brown bear.
I'll just say
Versus-
a bear.
Mule deer.
I'm gonna go brown bear, but my dad went out on a mule deer trip out west, Wyoming, and
They're wicked cool.
he shot his mule deer at like 220 yards.
Oh yeah.
Like that's a badass shot. Like when you're out on these plains and like 2 football fields away, and you're raising at 7 inches over the deer's back. He shoots a 7mm mag, so it's pretty massive. So it'd be pretty cool. But I think a brown bear just would be a whole different ball game. So I'm going brown bear.
Yes, brown bear for sure.
I'm going bear also. But as I think about this all of the time. And I don't know if I'll actually go hunt a brown bear or not. I want to. And I think the idea of getting like charged by a brown bear and shitting your pants and then still having to make a shot, otherwise you're dead, is pretty cool. Or maybe I get eaten by a brown bear like I've told Katie. But I am not interested in shooting things that I'm not going to eat.
You wouldn't eat a brown bear?
I would, but I feel like most people don't. Like any of like the outfitters that you look on their site, like there's really no mention of like butchering it and quartering it and getting the meat out of there. It's like, yeah, we'll get the hide, and like that's cool. But if I wasn't gonna eat it, I don't think I'd do it. So
Yeah.
if they were like, oh sure, you can eat it, and it probably won't be that good if it's coastal and tastes like fish. But like I don't think I'll do it if I wasn't gonna eat it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
However, if I ignore that fact, like that's totally number one on my list of things to hunt.
Yeah.
We have the Dall sheep and the mountain lion.
I'm going mountain lion here.
This one's kind of hard.
Yeah.
I've heard that mountain lion is good eating. And it's pretty common to hunt them with dogs, similar
Yep.
to my
'Cause
experience
you tree
of
'em,
hunting
just-
black bears.
Yep.
But also, like, Dall sheep or, like, the bighorn sheep are so cool.
Yeah, I think I'm going sheep on this one. I think that would
so cool. The problem is you have to climb a friggin'
be
mountain
right.
to go find
It would
one.
be much more work to do so, but I think that's also why it would be like it'd just be worth it.
I agree. I'm going sheep, but mountain lion would be awesome.
Yeah, I think all these on this side would be.
Next, we have the moose, which, if I was not going to hunt brown bear, this is now number 1 on my list.
Moose.
Moose for sure.
It's moose 100% versus a pronghorn antelope, which I've heard that those are also fun to hunt, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're so quick,
speedy.
agile.
Elusive.
Next, we have the Rocky Mountain elk versus the mountain goat. It's
Elk.
elk 100% for me.
Yeah.
I
For sure.
desperately
That's
going to
be a hell of a second round matchup there, folks.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
I don't
sounds
know what I'm
rough.
going to do with myself. All right,
That's-
back across
that
to
was
the
the
Great
last
World
one.
of Wisconsin. We have black bears and turkey lurkeys.
Black bear.
Black bear.
Black bear. They're so fun. And then we have deer and pheasant.
Deer.
Deer.
Katie and I were just having this conversation recently about, like, if I had to describe myself as a blank guy in terms of, like, my identity as a hunter. Am I
You're
gonna
a
be
pheasant hunter?
Am I gonna be a bird guy, or am I gonna be like a big game guy? Certainly, I'll do it all, but like, what's gonna be
But
like
what's your-
my thing?
Yeah.
I
You're a
haven't-
bird guy.
I haven't decided yet.
Well, here it is.
I don't know if I can decide right now.
Well, we already got the deer.
doesn't
for you,
matter,
you
so
don't
deer
even have to
boys.
make
It's
a
deer.
choice.
All right, fine. I'll just I'll just not.
You can continue
You
to
don't
have your
to-
lack of
You
identity.
can abstain from this round.
I'm doing it.
Brown bear. Oh, sorry. I jumped the gun there.
Brown bear or Dall sheep.
I think I'm going sheep.
I'm going brown bear.
I know, but
I
and
love-
that's why I said sheep.
I just love them. Now, here's the
This
one:
This is a tough one.
moose or elk.
I think I'm going moose just because elk, before long, I believe elk will be a season in Wisconsin.
Yeah, which I can't wait for.
Which
Yes.
idiots shot elk this last weekend.
that always
and I don't know-
happens, and that is
They
so
don't look like a
stupid.
deer. They're like 3 times the
They're
size, so get
enormous.
over it. But anyway, I don't ever see there being a moose season around us.
Like
So I
not.
think the moose is going to be a more like, I don't want to say exotic, but more exotic
For sure.
because you're going to have to go to a destination like Alaska and like really get somewhere for the moose. Whereas I think the elk being reintroduced back into nature is like, it's going to become like a deer before long. Like, it's an elk. Don't get me wrong, it'd be cool, but I think I'm going moose.
I think for the same argument, that's why I'm going elk though, because I have a more of a chance to spend much less money
Right.
to have an elk
But
hanging on my wall.
You remember he said like these are like ideal, like your trip of a lifetime.
Yeah, I still think I would pick an elk over a moose. I feel in much less danger with an elk than I do a moose.
Danger's my middle name, Tyler.
That's not true. But
Yeah, he's lying.
prove it.
I
Show us
wanted
your
it to
birth
be.
certificate.
I almost changed it.
A moose is a number one thing. Like, someday my dream is to have a big stone fireplace with a moose.
That you shoot, not buy at a garage sale.
Right. However, on both sides of said moose, I would like to have an elk.
So you got to shoot 2 of those.
But they're going to be easier to shoot once they are pretty commonplace in Wisconsin.
But I think that hunting an elk in, like, the mountains is, like, such a cool thing.
And like
Like-
chase them out, chase them down.
Like
and,
the spot and stalk, like,
track
oh,
'em
I
out.
saw this one 2 miles away, and now I have to go get over there, and I'm going to
To go down this ridge and have to go around.
back up.
You're going to
that
go
and
7 miles around to catch
up
it
the
2
wind
miles.
change, so now I got to go back
Yeah.
the other direction.
My dad did that trip probably 7 years ago or so. He didn't get one, but a couple of the other guys he went with got 3x3s.
Mm-hmm.
And he said it was pretty cool.
Elk bugles are
Yes.
awesome.
Yeah.
Like, sends a chill down your spine.
But a moose is pretty
A
badass
moose is so badass. Like, you don't realize how big elk are.
until you see a moose.
Well, until you see an elk. And then you're like,
then,
holy
yeah.
shit. But then a moose is substantially
It's
larger
the elk's
than
bigger
that.
brother.
You know what? One of my favorite moose facts.
Is it about the two from Brother Bear?
No, I've never
Where
seen
they're kind of
that
like
movie.
real goofy brothers?
Never seen it.
Come on.
But a natural predator of a moose is actually a killer whale.
Really?
Yep. Because off the coast, moose can like dive deep for
Oh, yeah.
vegetation down there, and they actually like get attacked by
Whales.
killer whales are like smart enough to wait for these moose to come dive.
I thought you were joking when you
No,
first said that. I'm
that's
like,
a
well,
legit thing.
killer whale can eat me too. Does that mean it's a predator for me? I
No,
don't.
that's well, it is, but this is like a legit thing. Like
No,
moose
when you
actually
explain it, it makes
die
sense.
to killer whales up near like
All the more
Alaska.
reason why I want to go on a moose hunt.
No, because then you're just gonna also get attacked by a killer whale. It's
I'm not
worth
going to hunt it in the water.
Well,
I think I have
why
to.
not? Then you also get a killer whale too.
There's no season for killer whales.
I think I have to go with moose because I have put it at the top of my bucket list. But I'm also very interested in elk.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a cool feeling to be like, yeah, I went 3 hours from home and shot a giant elk.
Yeah, that's gonna
Yeah.
be awesome.
It'll be cool.
Like,
I always buy into that lottery and never win because I don't win lotteries,
Yeah.
as you can tell by my Ducks Unlimited record.
what do you owe for?
No, he
we
won
won't
one.
say it.
No, I didn't win that. I just bought that on
Oh,
auction.
my bad.
That was
counts
the-
as a
You
loss.
that
could
was-
have just gone with it.
That was the only bid.
Call it a win. Nobody outbid you.
All right, the semifinals: black bear, and white-tailed deer.
I'm going black bear just because never
My
done it.
guy,
Never
Yeah,
done
I
it.
think I
I've
have
hunted
to.
deer my whole life,
You would
and I
pee
think
your
black
pants
bear
with how
would
much
be
fun it is.
just something cool.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Hey, don't let your dreams be dreams. The black bear application period ends December 10th. So if you're going to buy a preference point for the year,
I'm getting in
you have a week.
tomorrow.
I'm gonna do it right now.
Start buying points, and we can stagger our points. Like, I'll get mine a few years before you guys, and you can come with, and then I'll come with on yours. It'll be great.
Nice.
On the other side, we have brown bear versus moose. I know.
So the brown bear, I think, and you're a bear guy, so you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Ursus horribilis.
I think the brown bear is more frightening and more aggressive than the black bear.
100%.
That's a much
So that's-
nicer way to put it than I was going to put it.
That scares me more. Whereas, don't get me wrong, it's not like a moose is like a pet or anything, but I feel like hunting moose is more like hunting deer, and I don't necessarily have to put my life at risk
Right?
when I hunt a brown bear. So I'm going moose because I want to live and tell the great story about when I shoot this animal.
I want to live with 4 giant gashes across my chest, and I can be like, you see this? Yep.
That's when you get like your Viking name.
Yes.
Oh man.
You're the deciding factor, it sounds like.
I'm going brown bear. Not only because they're badass when they're alive, but when you have a 10-foot tall mount in your living room.
In your 8-foot tall living room.
Well, no, this is going to be in the living room with the stone fireplace
got
and the
it.
moose and the
And the
tall
elk.
vaulted ceiling.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, I think
It'll smell like leather,
That's awesome.
whiskey,
I'm
and
going
cigars
to,
that I don't smoke.
Just light them and let
because
them
there's going to be
burn.
one in between his claws.
Yes.
I think I'm going to go brown bear only because between the two, that's honestly like I would definitely hunt moose before I hunted the brown bear.
Yep.
Like brown bear would be like, all right, this is going to be the last hunt of my life.
Yep.
Because you're going to die
Like
on
it's
it.
going to be
Correct.
for whatever reason. It's because of old age, I can't handle it, or I'm dead.
Or the bear kills you.
Yeah, I think moose is more of a realistic
Right. I would agree.
something that I would be like, yeah, I would do that. Where a brown bear would be like, I'd need some convincing, but I think it'd be kind of cool. And by kind of cool, I mean it'd be pretty cool.
This is like the moment I've been waiting for my whole life.
I'm not surprised by this at all.
It's this conversation. The finals come down to the black bear, Ursus americanus, versus the brown bear, Ursus horribilis.
I didn't know we were getting a science lecture.
Yeah.
Now you'll find that brown bears have more of a hump on their shoulders as a
Oh, so
distinguishing
they're a
feature.
camel.
Similar.
I thought it
They're
was
in the
because they
family.
were black and not brown.
No, because you can have brown black bears.
So they're brown bear.
Let me explain to you color phases.
I'm
Based
just
on
lost.
the climate in which black bears live,
I just know if
You
it's
can
in
find-
Wisconsin, it's not a brown bear.
you can find
Yep.
a blonde black bear. You can find a cinnamon black bear, which is like a nice brown.
Why are they like labs?
Hey, I love labs too. Maybe that's why I love bears so
That-
much.
They're
Yeah.
just giant labs that could kill you.
So that depends on the climate. It's actually cool. You won't ever find them living in the same place because brown bears can't climb and black bears can. So black bears are in the tree-filled areas, and
Brown bears are just
brown
where they can
bears are
chase you
like
for miles.
in the open. Also, if a brown bear decided he wanted to live in a tree-filled area, there wouldn't be black bears there
Because
they're like,
you would kill
they're
him.
like, nah, dude, I'm good.
Why are you so much bigger than me? Why are you coming close? Man, I think between the two, I'm going black bear. Again, because I think it's much more realistic that that's something I
Oh,
would
it's for
do
sure more realistic.
I think
multiple
so, too.
times.
There's like still a slight chance that you die, but way less likely.
Yeah, but also because it's black bear, I would choose not to do it with dogs. I think I would be, I'd want to sit and bait and. Do
Probably
it that
safer
way.
that way.
Well, I don't know if it seems so hectic, and to me it's not that it's a bad way to do it because it's been done forever. I just don't, I feel like it's like I do none of the work
Yeah.
that way.
I'm going black bear too, just because
But I also, sorry,
my life is not at risk as much, and I like my life.
I feel like you're not doing like a ton of work when you're sitting and watching them eat licorice.
Yeah, but
They're
I
just
like,
standing there scratching their
I
belly.
feel like
and-
that's more like you have to figure out the pattern and all this. Like if I were to go hunt, I'm not going to be leading the pack of dogs. Like I'm just going to follow someone around who knows what they're doing. Like it's not something that like I would.
We'll do both.
I might
You're
do
coming
it,
along.
but I think my first one I'd rather bait, sit, and like.
For my next one, you can come along, and then when you get your tag at 3 years after that, then you can sit over bait, and then you will have all the information you need to decide.
All right.
I'm in.
Oh God, it's so great. It's just like it's so ridiculous.
So
And-
what's your vote?
I wasn't prepared for this.
It doesn't matter because we already picked.
You
but-
can't tell me you've never had this conversation in your head before.
Of which I'd rather hunt.
Yes.
I don't think that I've ever been like, hey, you got to pick one.
Because you would do both.
Yeah.
Well,
Forever.
again, you could abstain because we've already got a
Yep.
winner.
That's true. No, this one I don't feel so passionate. This one I'm not like identifying myself as something.
Yeah, you are. You're identifying yourself as kind of a cold-blooded killer or a giant cold-blooded killer hunter.
Truth.
I think you're a giant cold-blooded killer because you've already been a little cold-blooded killer.
Yeah, but I love that.
I was just say he.
If
Obviously
you loved
wants
it
to
that
continue
much,
to go.
it would be much more love on a giant killer.
I once heard a story of a woman that was researching brown bears, and
Died
she
because
got
she lived with
no,
them?
she lived. She got mauled by one though, and it bit her head. And
See, the fact that there's an animal out there that could fit its mouth around my head.
yeah, like
Problem.
she went deaf in one ear because one of his like canine teeth like went into her ear and punctured her eardrum.
Just kill me.
And she lived. She like found her bear spray and like sprayed blindly over her head and scared it off.
I have a headache now.
Seems.
Can you imagine your head being inside a bear's mouth?
No.
That's a wild.
Not even at the circus.
You know, I could imagine lying there dead. Like, I'm not playing dead. I would be dead. Because my heart would have exploded in that.
I would have died of a heart
Like,
attack.
Yes.
With my head in a bear's mouth.
I might have lived through everything else and been deaf in one ear, but internal bleeding everywhere from my heart exploding.
I think I'm going to go black bear because that I plan to do several more times. And like 7 to 10 years is too long to wait, so I'll probably, once I can afford to do so, like take some trips to Canada here and there.
Yeah.
Or out west, I'd be interested in like a spot and stalk black bear hunt. I think it's black bear, the best hunt of all. Wow.
It's a great bracket.
That top four. Even
Power.
though deer have been
Powerful.
doing for what am
You basically have
20 years now,
the deer versus the bear,
essentially.
right?
A regular-sized deer and a kind of regular-sized bear against monsters of their own species.
Facts.
That is so true. Look, from the looks of this, everything just gets bigger when
Wisconsin.
you leave Wisconsin.
Correct. Even the little things on the other side are not all that little.
No, they're sure not.
It's not like you got a squirrel or anything over there.
We could, a pine squirrel.
Oh,
Wow. That was powerful. Powerful stuff.
what a bracket.
Now I just want to go hunt some stuff.
Yeah, I do too.
I'll probably do that sometime. Maybe next weekend.
Maybe in a couple days.
Yeah, I'm reckoning.
Yeah.
All right. Well, until then, I'll be sure to get back to you next week and let you know if I had any better luck this time
Yeah,
around.
hunt
Let's
dog,
hope.
round 3.
What else do we got going on this week? Anything?
Wrestling
real
started
no-
today.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I hate that sport.
Yeah, you weren't there. I'm kind of disappointed.
My birthday was yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
just shove
yeah,
that out.
Yeah.
But when this comes out, it'll have been. It was,
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
it'll be-
Sunday.
It'll be old,
Old news. I'll be way old by then.
Yeah, you'll be almost a whole nother year.
Can you tell everyone how you celebrated last night?
Just had some pizza, drank a few beers,
Yeah, yeah.
went to bed.
I woke up at like 3:30 this morning and felt horrible.
Were you still angry? Because I was.
No, like I felt
Angry about what?
horrible. My insides were eating themselves.
I kind of felt like that too.
Okay, so that
I think
makes
it
me
was
feel a
the,
little better.
the dip.
It must have been because I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh my god, I'm
That
dying."
dip was so good.
It was delicious.
Yeah.
But also, that explains why I woke up to a Chris message from you
Yes,
that you played at like 4 a.m.
that was it.
Come on.
That was what I was doing. If any of you guys want to play Chris with me at 4 in the morning, let me know.
It's a pretty fun game.
It actually is. I sent Jake an invite weeks ago. But
I
he
got to
doesn't
get back
like
at it.
I took like a 3-month hiatus, but
Yeah. I won
I-
a game against both of you because you just didn't play.
It's just
I got to get back at
I
it.
updated the app and it is 1,000 times
yeah,
better.
I think we joined at the right time.
It sucked before.
Yeah.
It was very clunky. Now it's better.
Okay.
it's
I'm
very
going to
smooth.
check it out and
It's
get
got
back
a
going.
lot of new, like a lot of them you started to see, oh, I know that one already.
Yep.
Yep.
Like, I think the one we have, I've never seen a single one of those before.
Yeah, it's good. It's good stuff.
like it.
There's new game boards. If any of you want to play with us, because it's a fun game, it's called Chris, Kryss.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like you're basically doing a crossword against somebody else.
But it's all, the clues are just pictures. There
And
is
some
no,
words.
Like, well, yeah.
But not
it's
like full
mostly-
sentence clues. It's
Right.
like a word.
Yeah, you get like a word. Maybe
Yeah.
2 or 3.
So if you want to play with us, it's pretty cool. Check it
It's
out and send us an email. Not an email. Send us an invite in the app if you
Yep.
have our phone number. Okay. Well, we have to go finish playing Chris now and probably decorate a Christmas tree. So,
Oh, yeah.
for Jake Reese and Tyler Heck, I'm Colin Frederick. Let's get the heck out of here.